morning, just where I am is says my life can be described very easily as hell now for solid two to 3 years. But where the normal perception of hell is burning fire and all carnage breaking loose, for some reason my entrance to there has been a very slow and gradual progression. And the absolute truth is my life could be a lot worse than the present moment. A lot worse. But that doesn't take away from the reality that my life is very much hell in the present moment. And it's been getting worse and worse. Where I'm finding the strength to move today, I have no idea. Stoicism is basically wanting to die and not being able. That's my life. And in that place, you have to be honest with yourself if you're fighting for life. And I am. But the external application is looking less and less like I'm achieving anything. So in other words, I know my mentality and I know what I'm trying all the time. Because things are getting harder and I am getting weaker, it's harder to see on an external appearance of my life that I'm actually trying for life and all the time. And that's what my mental health has taught me. That's what my spirituality and all the teachers I've had in my life have taught me. It's to fight. It's to be positive. Avoid depression. And to live. And all the attributes that go along with achieving that. And for whatever reason, it's barely visible that I'm able to, that my fight is a reality, because I'm barely able to function on a basic level. I get by and I don't have a complaint to anybody else in this world, because this is as good as my life is going to get without a miracle happening. But what I'm being asked to experience now as life is like, imagine all those, the most horrible elements of hell. People going insane, screaming up the walls, rape and pillage happening just as a normality everywhere. Be pure luck if it's your day or not. Your body's ripped to bits. You feel every ounce of that pain. And then you feel every ounce of the slow re-healing process, never to fully re-heal. Because you don't know when your body's going to be ripped apart next. The almost certain guarantee is it will be before your body ever fully heals. Your mind is tortured. There's no There's no sun even though there's fire. There's no light even though there's fire. You're being burned alive. You have no control. It's just a case of what and which suffering is going to come your way next. My life isn't quite that bad in an external description, but it is. If I was to write down all the elements of my life, you'd be able to see that clearly. I can't say that for certainty because my mind is so scrambled at the moment, but I'm almost certain that if it's not 100% the case, what I just described, it's getting close, very, very close to 100% of what I just said. But where you've got your body being ripped apart, and that slow rehealing process never to reheal, we think of the most graphic picture, because that's hell. My life isn't quite so graphic at the moment. So all of those different elements of hell, it's like, imagine normal life in London, supposedly 2022. I figured out time stopped in 2001, by the way, the other day. It wasn't 2012, it happened 11 years before. It was kept on the low. Give or take a year, so it might have been 2002. We entered into a collective dream. And my life looks like London in 2022. I'm a very troubled individual, hard done by the world, troubled with his mind and physical body, fights for survival, astute to the world, and able to function on a level that most individuals would never dream of. Likes normal things, technology, and that's my life. But within all of that is hidden the very real struggle of a constant fight that might as well be the most graphic hell to a certain extent. So in other words, the softness that first picture brings is the only addition I'm currently getting to hell. And it's a massive softness when you're talking about hell. I can't put that down in any way. I don't want to jinx anything in the slightest now. I don't want any angels on my shoulders to hear me talking arrogantly about my life. And so that Gabriel is talking about his life, he's complaining again on the level that he shouldn't be. We're going to make him, we're going to teach him a lesson. I don't want to put any energy that way. That's my life. And that's why I say just before I reach the fires, because my life is just pretty much hell without the fire. I've even got a devil that pokes me in the side in a different way. It's not pleasant. But just before the fires reach, this morning I realised there's this thing within me, due to my past, that you'd half argue, am I constituting that picture? Am I creating my reality? And everything I know of spirituality, you half say yes. What do I mean by that? the law of attraction. In other words, wherever our mind is to life, that's the reality that we attract and create. But I try and live an honest life, one where I don't apply my conscious mind that I view as, not due to my own mental health, but our collective condition as a species, as sick, the conscious mind. So I try not to apply consciousness within spirituality that I see as pure in the first instance. And I apologize for the sound of my voice because there's an arrogance to it, because I'm not able to speak like that, given the pain I'm in at the moment. And I hear how it sounds, and it's painful to myself, physically painful to hear. But that's how I apply my mind to spirituality, to life. I try not to take control and lie to myself about how bad things are. But in that process, it sort of gets into a downward spiral where you're naturally attracting more and more badness to your life because you're being honest about how bad things are. And again, being honest within how bad things are. I'm talking about Stoicism earlier. There's a massive want within me to die, not to be alive, to end the suffering. That's what it is. It's not to say that there couldn't be a life for me in this world. It's just, given all the things placed in front of me, it's not likely, and it's something not to be thought of. So I haven't really given any energy in that direction, and it's a case of there's just been an internal knowing that, you know what, the thing I'd like the most was just to end my suffering and not be here. It's horrible to say, but looking and knowing the world to the level I do, there wasn't a thing that I really would want in this world. And would say the positive elements of the fight of my mental health, where spirituality can teach through the fight. I've been shown a picture of life, a very real human life, not one that you'd say is really of this world in modern times, but one that you would say is very real to the highest potential a human being can achieve. And it's a very simple life. Essentially, you might as well look at a picture of Tarzan, the idiot Tarzan, free in nature, running wild, basically communicating to the animals on one level or another, whether it be energetic or verbal or whatever, with a smile on his face, not in terror, not because he has to, but because it makes him feel alive, but because it is life. And I'd love to become Tarzan with a smile on my face, but it scares the shit out of me, because I've been brought up in London, and I've tried to hone my survival skills by watching TV. I know the beauty nature gives, but I spent most of my life in London, and my connection with nature is going for a walk in the park. Occasionally I'll find a forest, and that's my life. And to see myself, I saw a picture of myself, and it scared the shit out of me, because it's like, I can't do that. Imagine the movie Avatar, or they're running wild in the forest. And ask yourself, could you do that? No, we're not trained. We don't have the skills. We've never been free with nature. We've not been like an indigenous tribe where they'll just go right and climb a tree because that's what they've been doing since kids. And it scares the shit out of me for that reason, because I can't do it. Because I can't be free. And really, to be free within nature, having a hut somewhere in the woods, you'd have to be self-sufficient, but that wouldn't be a problem for me. I've half okay in that regard, looking after myself, food and water and shelter. It's a case of you're running wild and free and you have a little slip, which you might do one day. You break your leg. There's no hospitals to rely on. There's nobody else. You've got to take yourself back. However many miles you ran in that day, and I want to be running lots of miles if I'm Tarzan. 40 miles back to my hut to recoup, and then to patch my leg up and to go out again. I'm not worried about tigers, and snakes worry me. Spiders a little bit, but I'll get used to the spiders, I know. Snakes worry me. And those are the sort of things that make that picture shit scary and make it like far away. But the thing that makes it even scarier is that it's the truth. That's what we're designed as human beings to do. Imagine running wild and free with a smile on your face, your lungs pumping, your heart pumping, fully alive. You're in communication with nature. Your body fully alert that really and truly a slip is going to happen very, very rarely, because you're so experienced in just being there wild. It's like, think of the thing that you can do best in your life, a kid that plays video games. The kid can go through that video game and complete 2-3 levels without the blink of an eye. An adult gets shot after a minute. I can't play video games. But a kid knows how to do it through experience. It's the same thing. That's the learning process. And all you have to do is be careful with nature. It's not like you've got people there trying to shoot you. If you want to go and jump a canyon one day, then you just take your time and make sure that you do the training that you're going to be able to do it. Pardon me. But because it's really what we're designed for, what we're talking about is being alive on all levels. And what I said in that picture that wasn't really highlighted was an aloneness to life. Something that you just don't need people. You're just totally alive, being, not having a care in the world for people. That's the really scary bit for the conditioned human as well. So all of those elements of being totally alive without attachment is basically spirituality in the purest sense, in nature. That's spirituality. Being able to communicate with animals because you're so honed in your skills to knowing the environment that you know what the animals do, and you know those little movements, and all those little movements are a language because you're so conscious, you're so alive. So that's the picture, and all of those elements that stop me from being totally alive in the absolute sense of what it means to be human scare the shit out of me, because I'm never really likely to achieve that in London 2022. given that I can't go and camp in a forest legally unless I pay money. That's the world. So I saw the picture the other day and it scared me, and all of those elements are what has the reason for scaring me there. But then today it was a case of my mental health said, well, what happens if we put Jane in your hut for you when you go home? I was like, oh, okay, that might be workable, because my mental health is currently manipulating me through sex. And my mind isn't clear with the sexual energy it's flooding my mind with. But what that allowed for is that to me to just be centered for one moment in a place where I shouldn't find centeredness. So you know what? That's not a bad dream for life. To be fully alive and to have one person there that it might not be every day that you see, but when you come back from just jumping that canyon that was a few hundred miles away that you saw on one trekking journey, just because it looked fun, you know that when you go home you can tell that story to someone else. And it's not that you hate people, it's just that you don't need people. So you might find people along the way and you might communicate to them in a whatever way you can. They might not speak your language, but you'll be there with a smile on your face, meaning no harm. And obviously the world would need to support that. But it asked me, Gabriel, what happens if we give you this? Would you stop wanting to die? Well, I said, yeah, actually I would. I'd take that instead of wanting to die. Because the way it looks like is if I die, I'm only going to come back in my next life and find all of these problems in a different way until I deal with these problems. So one day I can actually do that, whether it's this body, this life, or another. So it's me saying, I don't really want to die anymore. What I want is to be wild and free in nature with someone I can go back to in my hut, but I can tell them about the canyon I just jumped. But I can feel something horrible about to happen. I don't know if it's another rape, another mutilation of my body, fires burning my soul and eyes. But I'm still in hell. I've got to go back to work there. So do you want to do something that makes you fully alive to your purest natural instincts as a being? Or do you want to do something else like play video games and work on the stock market for the rest of your life? That's the shit. Well done.